Thank you, Leader. I want to thank the leadership for the warm hospitality today. I had the privilege this morning of speaking to the House Republican Conference and the opportunity to meet with Senator Schumer in his chambers, and then the opportunity to speak to Senate Republicans today. It is 2017. We are back to work and just 16 days away from when we'll make America great again. The opportunity to be here with the leadership of the House and Senate and to talk about the priorities of the President-elect and to see the collaboration and the spirit that this leadership team has brought to moving the President's agenda forward is truly inspiring. The President-elect said many times on the campaign trail that he had a three-part agenda: jobs, jobs, jobs. And the focus of our administration from the outset, after getting our team in place through the confirmation process, is going to be to focus on supporting economic growth, repealing onerous regulations that are stifling the American economy, working with leaders in the House and the Senate to roll back an avalanche of red tape that's come out of this administration. We'll be looking for opportunity before we get to the spring to pass the tax relief that the President-elect advocated for working families, small businesses, family farms, and really get this economy moving again. There'll be a focus on infrastructure, a focus on border security, immigration. There'll be a focus on military spending, rebuilding our military, and of course the President-elect will be naming his choice for the Supreme Court of the United States. But as I said today to members of the Senate, the first order of business is to repeal and replace Obamacare. Obamacare has failed, and the American people have sent a decisive message to Washington, D.C., that they want Obamacare to be repealed and replaced with health care reform that will lower the cost of health insurance without growing the size of government. We're working very closely with the Senate leadership on a budget resolution that will begin the process of repealing Obamacare and also create a framework for replacement going forward. We're also working on a series of executive orders that the President-elect will put into effect to ensure that there is an orderly transition during the period after we repeal Obamacare to a market-based health care economy in America. Look, Obamacare has failed. The promises of Obamacare have all been proven to be false. I was here in a different capacity in March of 2010 when we were told if you like your doctor, you can keep it. Not true. If you like your health insurance, you can keep it. Not true. We were told that the cost of health insurance would go down if Obamacare became law. Not true. Right now, the American people are laboring under extraordinary increases in premiums. The average deductible for a bronze policy today is $12,000. American families have seen an increase in premium of $5,000, and this year, the average premium increase on families has been 25%, over 100% in some American states. That all comes to an end when we set into motion the effort to repeal and replace Obamacare. And what I can assure you and the American people is that President-elect Donald Trump is a man of his word. He campaigned on a broad range of policies to make America great again, have America prospering again, standing tall in the world again, honoring our most cherished constitutional principles. But the first order of business today for the President-elect, and I'm grateful for the leaders of the House and the Senate, is to keep our word to the American people, to repeal and replace Obamacare with health care reforms that, again, will focus on lowering the cost of health insurance without growing the size of government. The policies we'll be developing in the months ahead, but President-elect has strongly supported efforts, popularly advanced in the Congress in years past, of health savings accounts, allowing Americans to purchase health insurance across state lines, association health plans. The architecture of the replacement of Obamacare will come together, as it should, through the legislative process in the weeks and months ahead. But the American people voted for change in November, and the President-elect and I, working with the leaders of the House and Senate, are determined to keep our promise to the American people, and that all begins with repealing and replacing the failed policy of Obamacare.
On your meeting with Chuck Schumer, Mr. Vice President-elect, can you talk a little bit, though, about the argument that Democrats are making, sir, just that Republicans will own it, essentially, if you cannot come together behind a replacement
Sorry, I didn't hear the first part of your question.
Yeah, well, you're meeting with Chuck Schumer, any readout on that, and also the argument that Democrats, including he, are making, that Republicans will own it if you can't come together behind a replacement plan. Are you prepared to own the political fallout, potentially?
I think the most important thing for the president-elect and for the leaders here in Congress is that we keep our word to the American people. Look, Obamacare has failed. All the promises of Obamacare have been shown to be false and broken promises. And the American people want us to start over, to repeal Obamacare and replace it with the kind of reforms that will give the American people more choices when it comes to health insurance. Releasing the power of the free market is the pathway toward expanding access and affordability of health care across this country, and the American people know it. But the simple fact is the American people know who owns Obamacare. It's the first half of the title. It is Obama and the party of Obama. And what President-elect Trump and I and the leaders in the Congress are determined to do is to keep faith with the American people who have voted in this past historic election, both in the presidential election and in elections here in the Congress of the United States, to give us the majorities and to give us the control of the White House to make good on that promise.
Senator McConnell, the president-elect's advisor yesterday said on TV that with replacement for Obamacare, that nobody who has insurance now under Obamacare will go without it. Is that also your priority, that nobody who has insurance now will go without it?
Let me just say, we have on the floor of the Senate now the Obamacare repeal resolution. The priorities between now and January 20th are hearings on cabinet members. We hope the minority will treat President-elect Trump's cabinet selections in the same way that we treated President Obama, and we confirmed a number on Inauguration Day itself. We hope to be in a position to do that once again. And we're also going to process the waiver for Secretary of Defense designee Mattis. Those are the priorities between now and January the 20th. Let me also just point out, I noticed my counterpart, Senator Schumer, announced yesterday that their goal was to apparently never fill the Supreme Court vacancy. That's kind of an expansion of the Biden rule. You recall the Biden rule in 1992 was the Senate would not confirm a Supreme Court nominee in the middle of a presidential election year, which was my view last year. Senator Schumer said in the second Bush administration that they would not confirm a Supreme Court nominee in the last 18 months of President Bush 43's tenure. Apparently there's yet a new standard now, which is to not confirm a Supreme Court nominee at all. I think that's something the American people simply will not tolerate, and we'll be looking forward to receiving a Supreme Court nomination and moving forward on it.
Senator McConnell,
on cabinet nominations, when do you intend to meet with Scott Pruitt, and are you comfortable with a slim majority confirmation if that comes to fruition?
Yeah, I believe all of the president-elect's cabinet appointments will be confirmed.
Sir, Mr. Vice President, is there concern that President-elect Trump will not have much of a team going in if they are not, if his nominees are not confirmed on or after, or just after Inauguration Day? Basically, they'll have half a cabinet.
Well, I think it would be great if the Democrats would understand that, particularly with regard to the national security team, the Secretary of Defense, CIA, Homeland Security, it would make a lot of sense to have those folks in place on day one, and I hope we get to the point where that'll be possible.